In the poster of Rockwell for the series, he has a tech weapon. Assuming the first season is mainly the island, then all the scenes in the images take place during the story of the island, aside from Santiago, of course. So how would he have it? Rockwell and the rest of the Note characters who ascend from the island never find out about tech until Aberration, and the only survivors who made and used tech were from the Federation and URE, and from a time period that would be considered our future. Unlike the game that has a system where you unlock engrams for tech items after boss fights. As far as I know, there never was anything like that in the notes. The closest thing was when Rockwell found the element after fighting the Manticore, stating that it could have been guarding it. I like that the story doesn't have the engram system the game has. It makes sense as a video game mechanic, but less sense in a written story like Ark's. It could work well in stories. I've read one I forgot the name of that had something similar to the engrams, and the world is supposed to be like a video game. Something similar to the Genesis simulation, but for the rest of Ark it wouldn't make sense. Before reading the notes, I had assumed that it would just feel like I was reading a game and that it was a glorified tutorial, but they did a surprisingly good job of being a written adaptation of the game, and that's why I'm not bothered by the differences between the game and the lore, and I actually like them. Rockwell only learned about tech after meeting the Aberration survivors. While the series canon is going to be different than the Note canon, could it make sense for Rockwell to have this tech rifle within the notes? I had initially assumed that it was unlocked in the Dragon Arena, and that Nerva had maybe shown it to Rockwell after killing the dragon, but it's actually unlocked after defeating the Megapithecus. I don't think the notes had different difficulties of the bosses like the game does. The poster seems to be after Rockwell has gotten more obsessed with the artifacts and researching the obelisk, since he would definitely be interested in studying a weapon made out of a similar metal, and the Megapithecus fight was around that point in the story. However, Rockwell and Nerva were not there. It could have been something that Helena took since she thought it was interesting, or even something she thought Rockwell might want to see, somewhat ironically. And then Nerva could have taken it from, and that's how Rockwell has it. My prediction is that it wasn't an engram like in the game, because they'd still have to know how to make it, and also have materials, but maybe someone left it behind in the Megapithecus arena. It seems like fighting the bosses is something that not many people during Helena's time on the island did, considering very few knew how the artifacts and obelisks worked. Rockwell and the Iron Brotherhood were the only ones who were mentioned to have found the artifacts, as well as the Howling Wolves, but only after Helena told them to look for them. And the first time it was mentioned that anyone ever used them to activate the obelisks was the Iron Brotherhood, and they thought that the one that they found after defeating the Broodmother was useless. So I'd assume that people were unfamiliar about it, or else they would have been expecting the spider, and probably also would have known what to do with the artifact they got after defeating the Broodmother. Information seems to travel fast on the island. The Howling Wolves heard about their battle with the Broodmother, even though they're all the way in the snow biome. So while this seemed to be something many on the island at that time were unfamiliar with, maybe at some point, long before then, someone had tried it. Maybe there used to be people from the future who had tech. They fought the Megapithecus and left it behind. Helena found it, the New Legion took it, and now Rockwell has it. I don't think Rockwell having one tech weapon, especially one that's probably unusable without element, would change the story too much. It might even provide some foreshadowing to introducing the people from the future in Aberration. Another thing I realized about this poster is that if it does take place near the end of the island, I had assumed that Rockwell's concept art was supposed to be Rockwell when he was younger before his notes happened, and that his design might change throughout the show until it was closer to what he looks like in the illustrations. Another strange thing is an image of Rockwell from the end of Genesis 2. A clearer version was posted by Edmundium on Tumblr, and is similar to Rockwell from the animated series, but slightly different. I was wondering if his design had changed since the concept art, or that this might be older Rockwell during his notes. Concept art is never usually final anyways, but there were no changes in the poster, so I have no idea how long they had been working on the show for. The Genesis 2 image could have been the original, and the concept art is newer. For the most part, I like Rockwell's design in the show, but I also like these images from the island and Scorched Earth, and hoped that it would be similar to those. Regardless, it's difficult to get a clear reference for what these people look like, since they have a slightly different design in almost every note illustration, especially since there's a bunch of different styles. So I like having something consistent.